I have concluded that the time has come for action. Tonight, American and South Vietnamese units will attack the headquarters for the entire communist military operation in South Vietnam. In cooperation with the armed forces of South Vietnam, attacks are being launched this week to clean out major enemy sanctuaries on the Cambodian-Vietnam border.
Years ago this week, National Guardsmen opened fire on hundreds of unarmed students at an anti-war rally at Kent State University in Ohio, killing 4 and injuring 9. The students were protesting the U.S. invasion of Cambodia, which was announced by President Nixon on April 30th. The 4 students who were shot dead were Allison Krause, Jeffrey Miller, William Schroeder, and Sandra Scheuer.
Well, we protested vigorously for 4 days. That brought in 1,200 National Guardsmen. And on Monday, May 4th, they attacked a peaceful gathering of students. About 300 of us gathered on the Commons. And they fired tear gas. They chased us over a hill. And they marched back up the hill. And at the peak of the hilltop is where there was a verbal command to fire. One guard officer shouted, "Right here, get set, point, fire." And they fired 67 gunshots down the hill. They killed 4 students and they wounded 9, including me. I got shot through my right wrist 225 feet away. So we're going to try to find out who gave that order, and we're convinced that the order ultimately would go to the White House. President Nixon had a vendetta against Kent State SDS since 1968 when we went over to Akron and disrupted his speech in October of '68 at Akron University. And Nixon was very vindictive, and we think that maybe he worked with the governor to give the order to shoot and kill here.
Hunger is hard to recognize in America. We know it in other places, like Asia and Africa. But these children, all of them, are Americans. 10 million Americans are hungry.
The central question has been whether we as a nation would accept the problem of malnourishment as a national responsibility. On May 6th, I asserted to the Congress that the moment is at hand to put an end to hunger in America itself for all time.
The policy and my own feeling in this administration is that if there is one person in this country hungry, that is one too many.
And for those who cannot do for themselves, society has to respond.
In this era of unprecedented prosperity, we still have some work of our own to do.
We hear the call to take on the challenges of hunger and poverty and disease. And that is precisely what America is doing.
American families have been falling out of the middle class in record numbers. The combination of lost jobs and millions of foreclosures means a lot of folks are homeless and hungry for the first time in their lives. One of the consequences of the recession that you don't hear much about is the record number of children descending into poverty. The government considers a family of 4 to be impoverished if they take in less than $22,000 a year. Based on that standard and government projections of unemployment, it is estimated the poverty rate for kids in this country will soon hit 25%.
How many of you in the last few weeks have gone to bed hungry?
My mom will sometimes make food and then she won't have enough, so at night we'll just eat cereal or something. Other times my parents will fight about money because they don't have enough money to pay the food.
Because once the dark comes, you gotta find a place.
What was your profession before becoming homeless?
I was, you don't see him driving for 18 years,
Me we have to sometimes take food from a church. It's hard because my grandmother's also out of work and we usually get some food from her.
This is what is important, is family is wherever you are together. It doesn't matter if it is in your house, if it is in one room, or in your vehicle.
George climbed up here on the back seat, and Destiny and Chance here.
I was embarrassed that maybe one of my friends might see me. I don't want anybody to know that I was actually in there.
I just picked up a petition with 17,000 signatures to be delivered to Bill O'Reilly to show him that, yes, homelessness among veterans do exist.
The government don't care about nothing. You know, we'll make them richer and richer, make us poor and poor.
Reproductive health includes access to abortion.
Planned Parenthood does 330,000, more than 300,000 abortions each and every year. Each and every year. Planned Parenthood itself says it takes 10 to 20 minutes to literally dismember that child. Then there's these shots in the heart. There's a group called late-term abortion and a doctor right here in this area that on perfectly healthy babies gives them cardiac sticks with either feticide poison or a burst of air which kills the unborn child. But now we've learned from recent undercover taped investigations at several of its clinics that Planned Parenthood employees were found to be more than eager to assist people posing as sex traffickers to procure abortions for underage girls.
Text messages tell what really happened to a 4-year-old boy rushed to the hospital with a broken leg. His mother and boyfriend now charged with child abuse. ABC 15's Mary Ellen Resendez tells us he's just one of many child abuse cases now concerning police.
Earlier this month, 6-year-old Jacob Gibson died from brain injuries after being beaten with a belt buckle and wire hanger. Last month, 10-year-old Amy Deal died after being placed in a box overnight for taking a popsicle.
This 10-month-old baby girl has a dirty diaper. Instead of just changing it, something else happens. Something that's hard to watch.
Shut up.
The infant gets slapped, and Gilbert cops say that woman, whose face you can't really see, is the baby's own mother, 21-year-old Jessica Calloway. A friend captured this video on a cell phone. Investigators say the mom doesn't know she's being recorded, and it gets worse. It's tough to stomach, but you can see the woman hitting the baby in the face. Gilbert detectives say this video was taken last Friday. What you can't see is what cops tell us happened just before this. The mother blew marijuana smoke into her kid's mouth.
What happened inside this party store on Detroit's west side is jaw-dropping, stomach-turning, and sick. The man you see here walked inside this business with a baby boy, who's probably not even 2 years old. And instead of nurturing and protecting him, he spent nearly 5 minutes maliciously and brutally beating him. The innocent child was kicked, choked, slapped, stepped on, yanked, and pulled. He was even hit in the face with this glass refrigerator door. And the only time this adult stopped abusing this child was when customers came too close to his crime.
Say John Baxley was beaten multiple times at his father's Citrus Park home. And as Fox 13's Gloria Gomez tells us, they believe the abuse lasted for weeks.
When deputies arrived on the scene, they could see obvious signs of severe abuse, a lot of bruising, a lot of trauma to the child. So it was clear cut that this child had been abused.
A school comes under siege.
As the school is in a panic, I've got students down under the table, kids! Heads under the table!
When 2 students launch a deadly assault on Columbine High.
Oh God, stay in the line of battle! Stay down!
The whole
time I just pretended to be dead.
At the time, it was the worst school shooting in American history.
There were a total of 15 bodies. There were 11 males and 4 females.
While people grieve, questions turn to the motive
Pull out a goddamn shotgun and blow your damn head off.
that drove these young men to murder,
I'll rip off your goddamn head.
and whether warning signs were missed.
When you start putting all these pieces together to the puzzle, and you're saying, boy, there's a red flag.
About 60 feet away, Castaldo sees 2 male teenagers dressed in long black trench coats. Without warning, they pull out guns from under their coats. One of them has a rifle and a sawn-off shotgun. The other has a sawn-off shotgun and a semi-automatic handgun. Their actions raise the first of many questions asked by the final report.
I'm a teacher at Columbine High School. There is a student here with a gun, and the school is in a panic, and I'm in the library. I've got students down under the table, kids! Heads under the table! We need to reach you. Okay.
We were just all sitting there in the library, and then they just started, and all you hear is like firecrackers, and then I looked out the window, and there was a kid with a trench coat and a shotgun throwing pipe bombs in the parking lot, and then he shot a girl outside.
What sounded like firecrackers, and so we looked over and we saw some guys with guns creeping around a corner, and we thought it was like a senior prank or something, so we just kept watching to see what they were going to do.
When the gunfire stopped less than an hour later at 12:08 p.m., 15 were dead, 24 injured, and Eric and Dylan had shot themselves.
My name is Crystal, and I'm a 16-year-old girl that lives in Florida. I need some help. The state attorney of Florida doesn't want to prosecute the 23-year-old man that's raped me and drugged me. Because I was raped by a 23-year-old man and nobody wants to help me.
An 18-year-old boy who instigated the gang rape of a 15-year-old girl learned
A man who has been helping to raise his 3 granddaughters is jailed tonight on charges of repeatedly raping them.
A man in Oklahoma has been sentenced to 1 year, is going to serve 1 year in prison for raping a 4-year-old girl.
He said he was going to go upstairs to get a butcher knife to finish me off. I'm holding my breath, trying not to breathe because I didn't want him to hear me.
Treckle supplied us with these photos taken just days after the attack. She was beaten and raped for more than an hour and a half. She says Olinger strangled her 3 separate times. Each time she lost consciousness. Olinger punched her repeatedly in the face, broke her arm.
I couldn't take a bath by myself. I couldn't wash my hair.
According to the U.S. Department of Justice, 2 minutes passed between rapes in America.
In the 1970s, President Jimmy Carter commissioned the Global 2000 report. The findings of the report blamed virtually all of the world problems on the population growth of non-white people. The report went on as far as recommending the elimination of at least 2 billion people in third world nations off the face of the earth by the year 2000 in order to restore Western supremacy.
Of the mega military weapons contractor called Litton Industries. Litton's president, Roy Ash, was Nixon's alternate for the National Security Advisor post he gave to Kissinger. Kissinger ordered Admiral Zumwalt of the Navy to do a reassessment of America's biological weapons capabilities. These documents, including the U.S. government contracts, best explain how AIDS emerged on 2 far-removed continents in black Africans and gay New Yorkers by 1978. These were precisely the populations that received the first hepatitis B vaccines, produced in Litton's chimpanzees just 4 years earlier.
Mom, guess what I learned in school today?
What, sweetie?
I learned how a prince married a prince, and I can marry a princess.
Homosexuals, according to research, are 6% of the population.
I'm a Massachusetts parent, helplessly watching public schools teach my son that gay marriage is okay.
You know, where's the girl who hasn't gone to college or even maybe finished high school going to make more money than a doctor? You know? Porn.
Most of the companies are set up here, the distribution is here, the duplication sites are here, the studios are here. So this is the Hollywood of porno, the San Fernando Valley.
I really honestly believe the reason that everybody settled in the valley is because the rents were cheaper.
We sell to approximately 40 different countries, and then even those countries sometimes, you know, have a deal with us that they can themselves sell into another country. Our biggest customer, of course, would be Canada, but we do a lot of business in Italy and Spain and Germany.
Sex sells. Last year, almost 13,000 new releases came out. That's an unbelievable amount of movies.
We now have over 600 DVDs.
Here in Porn Valley, much less around the world, it's staggering how much product is being put out on the market.
We do anywhere from 10 to 14 a month.
So 13,000 new products that a store could possibly stock is an insane amount of movies.
A strong movie in the first month is going to sell between 5 and 8 to 10,000 copies in 1 month.
Even though it's a $12.7 billion industry, there's too much product in the marketplace.
Porn is made and produced all over the world.
The people that have the most crucial needs, in my opinion and my experience, are the people that are addicted to fame. Because these people have compromised backgrounds, perhaps some very bad family life, some abuse growing up as a child. So therefore, on their 18th birthday, they end up in Los Angeles thinking that pornography is going to be the back door into Hollywood.
Today I'm in Chicago, the birthplace of the American street pimp. Right now we're headed to Debbie the Glass Lady's house. Debbie the Glass Lady is instrumental in the pimp process. I've heard that she knows every pimp in the world.
The girl sounds like she's doing all the work while the pimp's collecting all the good stuff.
A woman needs a pimp. Yeah, because it's much harder to work this brain than it is to lift that chair. You know, to think. It's very hard to think. And see, a pimp has to be thinking. Women are always used to being told what to do, so when you don't tell them, then they run into destruction. They don't know what to do.
So is there rules to pimping?
Oh, definitely there's rules to pimping. You know what I mean? First you look at the purse. That's the first thing in the game.
Look at the what?
Purse, the money. That's always on your mind. When I was seriously pimping, every time I see a female, I seen a dollar sign. That's all I seen.
The adult entertainment industry is worth over $10 billion annually.